with the marriage profile, first thing is that look, what a father wants is the best for his daughter, right? So whatever he says, whatever he doesn't says, ultimately his intention and his aim is to have the best for you, right? That's what he wants. So any advice, any guidance, anything he's saying to you is all centered around his love, his good wishes for you, right? Whether he's right, whether he's wrong, that's something different. And I think that that's the first thing that we have to acknowledge in these kind of situations, that our parents love us, and this is the reason why they're kind of saying this. Now, whether he's right or wrong about this, I think it really depends. Me, generally, like if there's a minor point and my dad or my mum were to tell me to do something and it was like a minor point, I would just do it. Why? Because I feel like there's more barakah in the decision of my parents than like my own decision. Okay, if it's a big thing about where you live or this or that, then like I'm like, yeah, like maybe I'll take my own opinion or I'll listen to them, but then come to my decision or whatever. But if it's just a minor thing where I've written this whole thing out and they said, look, change that, I'll be like, okay, I'll change it. Even if I think, oh, you know what, it might not be good for it, this, that, I'm like, you know what, let me put my trust in Allah, let me listen to my parents, let me do what he says, and let me it'll put barakah in it. And I would just do it, personally, that's what I would do. Right? If my friend told me, or my wife, or my son, or someone else, maybe I'll react a bit differently. Like I think with someone close like your wife or your family, maybe you would listen to it more. But if a random friend said do it, this, that, and the other, I don't know. But if my parents are saying it, I definitely recommend that I would do it if it was a minor point. Now, if it was an important point, like they were saying, don't put down you want a practicing husband, or don't say that you want someone who prays, and then I'll be like, look, Dad, sorry, I'm really sorry. Like this one I can't do. But if it's just like, just remove that thing about homeschooling, they'll get that idea anyway. And then when you speak to that person, they'll homeschool. I'll be like, okay, if it's a big deal for my dad, then I'm just going to do that.
Yeah.
But it's also a bit like the Pakistani mentality generally is that, look, you know, a wife shouldn't be so demanding on the husband. A wife shouldn't be like, you know, saying to the husband, I want this and you have to do things this way. Like in our culture, Pakistanis generally, it's kind of like the opposite. Like the husband will be demanding and the husband will be directing and the husband will be like this, right? And so he's probably thinking, well, look, if she's going to end up getting married to a good guy, then she can't be telling the guy that this is what I want to do and this is what I want to do and this is what I homeschool. The reason I was laughing when you were telling me is because homeschooling is like the one sticking point I have with my mum and dad, because they're very traditional. They come from old school. Even my mum, she's like, she went and got a bachelor's, and my dad was like proper into education and all this kind of stuff. So they value education hugely, and when they see like we're homeschooling kids and stuff like that, they think it's crazy and they think it's like terrible and not as good as school and all. So, and I'm like, yeah, I respect your opinion, it's fine, you know. So they like that, they think that. But if he's saying it not because of the homeschooling, he's saying it that he doesn't want you to come across as a demanding person and this and this and this. What he doesn't realize is that this is not, you're not saying it from a demanding perspective. It's actually something that would be attractive for a person, right? So if a man's like looking for a practicing wife and then he sees that the wife is saying, oh, I want to homeschool, homeschooling is important, and I'm willing to homeschool, that's going to be something very attractive for him. And he doesn't see that as a demand. He sees it more as like a really great thing, you know? So maybe it's about making, you know, dad understand that, look, these kind of people, they actually don't see this as a demand, but they see it as an asset and they see it as something very, very positive, right? Like if I was looking to get married today and I saw that there's a woman who says, you know, I don't want my kids homeschooled, I want them to go to school. And then I saw another woman who's saying, you know, I want to homeschool the kids, I think it's important. Like I would prefer to go that way. And I think most brothers would, who are practicing and into this kind of stuff. So it's actually an asset. So on one hand, like I would be like, okay, Dad, I understand it, this and that. But if the marriage meeting ever came up, like schooling of children is definitely going to come up, right? Or children and stuff. So in that way, I would advise my own sister. I would be like, don't go on that vibe where you're like, look, you know, if you get married to me, then my children must be homeschooled, and like, don't go like that. But, you know, there's no harm in you saying, look, I would love for my children to be homeschooled. And obviously, like, I believe, like I say to my mum, my sister, my wife, I say to everyone, whatever your husband says, just go with it. Like, just go with it, right? I really believe that there's a lot of barakah in the decision of the husband. So just go with it. And so if the husband says, no, we're not homeschooling, then fundamentally, even though you want to, you get the reward for that intention, then it doesn't happen, you know? So maybe just making your dad understand those kind of things. Or you could just not discuss it, just be like, okay, Dad, remove it, change it, whatever, and then in the meeting just have the discussion if it comes up, kind of thing, you know. My main thing is that I wouldn't advise anyone to disobey their parents. That's the main thing I'm saying. Yeah. And in the discussion, what I'm saying is that people talk. When you have a discussion, you can talk about that and you can say, look, you know, when I get married, like my dream is that one day I'll live in a Muslim country, but you know, if that happens, great, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, you know.